Good day, everyone. This is a video on how to manage mushrooms during the dry periods. As you all know, in the tropic regions, the dry season is such that if one is not careful, it will affect the productivity of a mushroom grower. And mushroom is such that it needs a high amount of humidity for one to get a product or a good yield out of it. That's why you notice that most of the time in the rainy season, you see mushroom flourishing from everywhere, especially on logs of wood, damp places, and backyards. That's because of the nature of how it is, that it needs a cool environment for it to subsist. And to get output out of mushroom as a farmer, you need to be able to produce both in the dry season and in the rainy season. So what one needs to do is in the dry season, unlike the rainy season that needs a little effort to get yield out of it, you need to make sure that the water, that is the humidity, is right. By making sure that at least the humidity is up to 80% to get a very good yield out of it. And how to achieve this needs a little bit of effort. And apart from humidity, you need to make sure that there is no carbon dioxide buildup in your growing room. How do you achieve this? One of the ways to achieve it, the humidity level, is by putting some measures, just like a humidifier, a mist maker, or by spraying with water to make sure that there is constant water in the environment. But not only water, you may need to make sure that the temperature is reduced drastically, because once the temperature is getting too high, the mushroom will not be able to get its it will not fruit properly. You see it shrinking up. So to prevent this, you need to make sure that there is no carbon dioxide buildup in your growing room. And one of the ways you can do that is making sure that, especially in the daytime when the temperature is hot, you open up the coverings, because you need to make sure that everywhere is properly covered. Just like this, you try to cover up everywhere to make sure that the dry air the breeze the dry breeze that blows in the dry period does not affect the yield. You make sure this is done by covering up everywhere as this. So instead of opening up, you can have an extractor fan that removes the hot air out of the room. But if you don't have this in place, you just need to make sure that there is something that blows out the hot air out of the room. Apart from this, you need to make sure that the humidity is high by making sure that you use maybe a nasal sprayer and spraying the mushrooms with water constantly, maybe 3 times, 4 times daily, depending on how severe the weather condition is in your area. And you can do this through different methods. You can use the nasal sprayer, like I said. Some can use a hand spraying of water, but the disadvantage of this is that it can remove the pinheads as you are wetting the mushrooms. So another thing you can use is that by making sure that you input a misting system, just as this, in which it's more like a sprayer, more like a shower system that inputs, that showers the water inside the room, so that the temperature is brought down and the humidity is increased, because the temperature is not supposed to be above 20. It's not supposed to be above 27 degrees, outside which it can lead to dryness, and you see that your mushrooms are drying up as time goes on. So these are some of the measures you can put in place. You can decide to use a humidifier too, such as this, in which you on the humidifier and it inputs a level of water into the it allows mist moisture into the environment that prevents the drying of the mushroom. Another method measure that you can put in place is by making sure that for instance, this structure is made of iron sheets. So what we now do is we put carton inside to prevent the heat from the intensity of the sun that beats the iron sheet and make the place hot by putting these cartons that prevent that from affecting the yield inside the cropping room. So another thing you can put is by making sure that you put something over the roof. Depending on your roofing system though, you can put grass on top of the roof like this, and as you can see, just like I mentioned, the wall is covered with tarpaulin that prevents the dryness from affecting the yield, especially this season that is dry and affects your productivity. So to achieve that, to prevent the yield from dropping, you need to put some of these measures in place. Also, you have to make sure that there is constant checking of the temperature and humidity, because sometimes, especially during the day, the temperature can shoot up. So you need to make sure that, and the floor of this place is such that this place is formerly floored with cement, but because as time goes on, we realize that the flooring is not so good, in the sense that it also generates heat. We pour sand on top of the soil. So if one wants to create a cropping room, you don't even need to floor it, especially in tropical area like Nigeria. So all you need to do is make sure that the place is always, the floor is always moist, so to reduce the intensity of the heat. For further discussions on mushrooms, you can follow us on, so you can like us on Facebook, you can follow us on Instagram, and you can subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Thank you.